The Two and Out CFL podcast with Travis Currah and Sheldon Jones starts now.
Well, happy Labor Day. Here we are after Labor Day weekend in the Canadian Football League. 2 out of the 3 games were absolute bangers. The last one, not so much. I can't say I'm too surprised about that one, though. Sheldon Jones, how are you feeling after your Labor Day weekend?
I am feeling good. I'm feeling hoarse. I don't think I cheered that much at a game since, well, probably, I guess the semifinal last year, maybe. I don't know. Like, it's been a long time. That was the most packed, obviously, that I've ever seen Mosaic. It has the record for the highest attendance now, but just with all those extra standing room tickets, the concourse was just crazy 60 minutes before the game even. Like, we got there early, and it was kind of overwhelming. I just kind of wanted to get to the seats and get away from everybody, to be honest. But amazing to see that place full, and slow start, but the fans, we got quite a game.
Yeah, we did. It was the loudest I've ever heard. Mosaic Stadium, 34,243 in attendance. In Hamilton, also a Hamilton Stadium attendance record there with 25,619. In Calgary, 27,764. I'd say this was a darn good Labor Day weekend in the Canadian Football League, and we are live on YouTube. Looking forward to seeing your reactions as they come in. Maybe we should just start with Labor Day, the classic, the weekend. I know Ticat fans, Stamps fans, they get it all. It's the weekend. Those guys don't know what they're doing. But, hey, the commute between the two cities is at least twice of that, between Edmonton and Calgary and Hamilton, Toronto. And I would say shout out to the Bombers fans, at least 5,000 of them making the 6-hour trek across the prairies to Regina for Labor Day. So those other away fans, I don't know. You can be all, the only thing that they have high and mighty is the calendar, that it's not actually Labor Day. So I actually have some footage that that I want to show throughout this. So my day consisted of getting up at 5 in the morning. I was leaving my parking lot at 5:27 for the 8-hour drive to Regina. I had some McDonald's reward points. I got some sausage and egg McMuffins. I hit the highway and I made it to Regina. And of course, well in advance of the game, there's a tailgate party every Labor Day called Wayne's World, and the story goes back to Taylor Field because he lives right across the street from where Taylor Field used to be, and the Bomber fans would show up ready to tailgate before the game, but Regina's finest were ready to hit them with open liquor ticket. So Wayne said, "Hey, come onto my property. Let's have some fun." And it's continued to the new stadium. And I want to go to this video of the Golden Boy in Winnipeg at the Wayne's World Party with his pregame speech to fire up the blue and gold faithful.
Today, we have come from all parts of the globe. All parts to be right here in enemy territory. We will fight, defeat, and conquer the enemy. And when we're done, we're gonna feast on watermelon. Then we will burn this all down. Here we go, Bombers! Here we go! Here we go, Bombers! Here we go! Here we go, Bombers!
Okay, if that doesn't fire you up, man, or at least put a smile on your face, I don't know if you have a pulse.
Yeah,
Sir
yeah, Golden Boy is
Douglas of the
awesome.
Argos fancast saying, "Yeah, how did that go for the Golden Boy? It didn't go well, to say the
But it
very least."
almost did.
It almost did. It almost did. And that atmosphere in Mosaic Stadium was electric right from the very beginning. And I just got to go to this footage of the flyover. When those jets fly over a stadium before a game, it fires up somebody like nobody else. Here we go. So my little camera, the jets look pretty small, but they sound pretty loud. That was pretty crazy, man.
They were low. It was awesome. And then when they came back around, even better because he didn't see them coming and he didn't expect it. And it, I don't know if we've had a flyby in the new stadium. We probably have, but I don't remember one since before COVID, at least. They're very few and far between around here when they used to be very, very often. So it was very awesome to have that flyby. I was so stoked about it.
HB Sauce in the chat saying it would have been so awesome to be there. Hey, I don't want to make you jealous. It was awesome to be there. I know HB Sauce is going to be at the Elks Riders game because he won tickets,
Right?
courtesy
Yes.
of Two and Out. So congrats on that. As far as the game went, Sheldon, it got off to a pretty slow start. It was like a
Yeah.
heavyweight boxing match where the jabs were going back and forth, testing each other out. No score through the first quarter. I was wondering if there would be a team looking to get off to a quick start, and neither were able. I mean, the Riders, though, and I did compare it to a little bit to a boxing match. Those 5 yards at a time on the ground with AJ Olette, I think it paid off in the at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit frustrated with how often they were running on first down, but obviously they were just trying to set up what would happen later in the game, I guess. But I honestly thought that's how Winnipeg would be playing. But at the end of the day, Oliveira only had 5 carries, and that's just you're not going to see Winnipeg win too many times when you have Oliveira to that few of carries. So I just don't quite understand what was going on in the play calling there. But yeah, it was like you said, it kind of felt like a playoff game in a way. Like they didn't want to make mistakes. They were trying just to establish their running game. At least the Riders were, and uh, it was fun. Like I kind of think we all kind of just thought we were waiting for the wells to break, and it the second quarter is when that kind of started to happen.
Well, and the Brady Oliveira, play calling really shocked me. At over 200 yards from scrimmage last week against Montreal, and
Yeah.
Brady was having 4.8 yards a carry. I remember he had a big 11-yard run. I think he had another one called back with a holding call, which definitely hurt. He did have a touchdown. He had 30 receiving yards, but it seemed like maybe their game plan was to test the Riders deep with Jackson Ford at safety, and the Bombers did have success doing that. Zach
Yeah.
did have some really dynamite throws in this one. There was one down in the corner of the end zone right in front of us. I think Kevin's Clercius ended up catching, or no, well, he had a big catch where he stretched out. That might have been
Yeah.
the Wheatfall touchdown
Yeah,
in
the
the
Wheatfall,
end zone.
yeah. That's
33
right where
yards.
right where Tammy was sitting for this game. She had quite the view of that
Like,
that
what a
touchdown.
dime from
Yeah,
Zach. And he
yeah.
was making big throws, 26 to 37, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. I know there was the interception that we'll get to, but I thought Zach overall did look pretty good. Riders weren't able to pressure him consistently.
Well, you say that, but they ended up with was it 5 sacks? Yeah, 5 sacks. So I guess maybe some of those were coverage sacks, I guess, but Yeah, if you look just at Zach's stats, it looks like he played well enough for them to win, and obviously they were close there. But uh, he kind of did look rattled at sometimes. There was a few like overthrows where you would think that normally he would have that, but yeah, I agree. Zach actually played really well, and he's probably going to do that again next week. So we'll have to see which team ends up on top after that.
Well, you're right. The beginning of the second quarter, I think the key moment there is Brady Oliveira, first play of the second quarter. He's in the end zone for a touchdown. And then
Hmm.
the next drive, Trevor Harris gets sacked, fumbled the ball. Bombers recover it at the Rider 8.
Yeah,
And then the Bombers go 2 and out. It was like, what, second or third and 2 from the
third and
Rider
two.
2? So basically third and goal.
Yeah,
I really thought that the Bombers were going to go for it there. And they ended up kicking a 10-yard field goal, which you don't see that very often in the Canadian Football League. When you look at the score at the end of the day, I did think it was pretty conservative from Mike O'Shea, considering the Rider offense hadn't really gotten into rhythm yet.
yeah, exactly. And it was an extra possession. Like it's not like you were giving up one of your normal possessions. You're you're in the enemy territory. You're at their 2 yard line. You just scored a touchdown 3 plays before that, and you have a chance to now go up by 2 scores, 2 full scores. And you have Chris Streveler, who is in the top 3 short yardage quarterbacks in the league. I just don't understand the call here because even if they miss it, Riders are going to be down at their 1 yard line, and they haven't been able to do anything on you. So you're gonna probably at worst get a safety there.
So
Yeah, it's just
then kind
silly,
of
silly
kind
call.
kind of like it went against Calgary, where interceptions were going back and forth a week ago for the Riders. It happened here, where Zach Collaros gets sacked by Malik Carney. He got the trifecta on the play: the sack, the fumble, the recovery, and then a play
Yeah,
later, AJ Olette is in the end zone there. So the Riders did get that fumble deep in the own end back, which
yeah,
really just meant that the Bombers needed to take advantage of that. The fact that they let it go was really kind of a puzzling call. And then a few
hmm,
minutes later, that is when Tommy Neal caught the big 69-yard touchdown. And the Riders
nice.
made the Bombers pay, and they took the lead in the second quarter. And the Bombers ended up missing a 50-yarder at the end of the half there. So the Riders go into the half up on the Bombers at halftime. You were kind of wondering, is the second quarter the Rider quarter?
It seems like it. But also, let's not forget when the Bombers kicked that field goal, they were right before that, they were 2nd and 1 with like 45 seconds left, and they decide to do a long pass, I think. And it goes or no, and no, they decide to go for a pass and then Zach gets sacked, right? Which, puts them back to a 50-yard field goal instead of just taking that, again, put Strevler in there, get that yard and get another first down. So again, that was another call by Mike O'Shea that I thought was way too conservative, or even this one is just dumb. It wasn't just conservative; it was dumb. And just I'm not used to seeing O'Shea make questionable calls like this. Usually, he's right, and there's no second guessing his calls. But there's a lot of second guessing his calls this year, I think.
The second half started with Brett Lawther kicking a 34-yard field goal to open up the scoring. Congratulations to him, a new dad. It's wild in a Rider win. On the post-game shows, Rider fans still talking about getting rid of Brett Lawther. I know he missed an extra point in this one, but it feels like the room for error is negative for number 12 on the Riders.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that has to do with when we talk about what's going to happen later in the fourth quarter, there was an instance where the Riders weren't obviously comfortable or thinking that Brett was going to make a field goal. And, regardless of him being a new father, that's well and good. He got his field goal, that's awesome, but he missed a convert, and a convert is what, a 37-yard field goal or something like that. Like, so, like, a very easy field goal that you should be 99 out of 100 on converts. And he's just not playing at a level that's adequate for professional right now, I think. So I would doubt it that he plays in the Banjo Bowl. I assume they're going to give Campbell Fair a shot here, because if you're not kicking a 40-yard field goal at the end of the game to completely end the game, I don't know what future that kicker has with the team.
The teams then trade touchdowns in the third quarter. Zach Collaros hits Nick Dembski for a 22-yarder. The Bombers, it was clear on that drive, they just wanted to pass. They didn't bother working with Oliveira at all. 15 yards to Dembski. They hit Wheatfall. They hit Schoen for 20 yards. They hit Dembski for another 22. So that Rider zone was having some holes that the Bombers were able to take advantage of. And then the Riders, they ended up responding as well. That touchdown, 26 yards from Mario Anderson. So a lot of the talk going into this week, only 3 games, CFL Fantasy was difficult to pick. If you pick the 2 cheap running backs, Mario Anderson and Spencer Brown of the Argos, you probably would have been quite happy with your fantasy lineup.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kind of funny though, Mary, like, AJ does all the work and then they bring in Mario and he gets the one touchdown, that one drive. Uh, and then, yeah, the other one is just a short drive where it just happens to be Mario's, one drive that he takes. Good for the kid getting his first 2 touchdowns. It was awesome to see. I think he even gave one of the balls to Furlan. They said on the post game show, just for the block that he made or something. He wanted him to have the game ball for that one, so that was pretty cool.
And then at the beginning of the fourth quarter, I kind of thought things were going to unravel for the Bombers. Well, and I guess you should mention that that Mario Anderson one is the one where Brett Lothar missed the point after on that one, which would definitely add to the gravity of things as the game went on here. I thought it was going to unravel for the Bombers at the beginning of the fourth quarter, because then the crowd got crazy. Brady Oliveira has that big run, 14 yards. It gets called back, procedure no end. And then the very next play, a time count violation by the Bombers. Then Brady Oliveira has an 8-yard run, and he fumbles the ball. Riders take over, touchdown Mario Anderson, and then they get the 2-point conversion with Agile returning from the NFL back in for that first game after like 3 practices, and the Riders are up 31-17.
Yeah, buddy in the McRae jersey at Wayne's World, who insisted that Agile wasn't playing and tried to creep and get into our group and we didn't want you there. Yeah, he played and scored points. That guy was so creepy and annoying.
He was definitely thinking of you. While Agile puts the Riders up by 2 full scores. But then a few plays later, Mario Alford, a big return. And he makes his return to the lineup here. From our seats, you can really see the lanes on special teams. He was looking like he was doing some wacky things. Here, he made the right call, but after 24 yards, he's up 2 touchdowns, and Kyle Wilson forces the fumble, and the Bombers get the ball back, and then that's when Wheatfall caught that touchdown in the end zone to bring the Bombers within 7 points. Like, what a sequence. You cannot, it goes without saying, have a fumble in that situation.
No, yeah, he's got to be like, as soon as you get even close to another player, you got to have two hands on the ball there. So that was rough. You don't expect to see a veteran making a mistake like that, but he obviously saw. He probably got excited because he saw the lane that we saw that he was about to hit, and just the Bomber player made a great play, and that's that's what good teams do, is they find ways to actually make good plays and then make the teams pay for it, because they took no time and they just got that touchdown. It, and I believe it was like right before that series, I looked over to you and I said, I'm not confident right now.
You did.
I'm worried. And, jeez.
You totally did. And then I guess the Riders have the ball with about 4 minutes to go, and that's when the whole Trevor Harris 3rd and 6 from the Winnipeg 44, he punts the ball. And that would have been quite the kick. Well,
It would have been a 50-yarder.
that's within Lothar's range. Do you think they made that call because no confidence?
I don't know specifically if it was because of no confidence, but it's very easy to infer that. The way that they had this play worked up, you could tell that they had this play called. So maybe they would have done it anyway, even if Lowther was hitting 90% of his field goals. But I highly doubt it. But this play just it worked out perfectly because it caught the Bombers off guard. And again, that's a thing that usually doesn't happen to Mike O'Shea. He's a special teams guy before he became a head coach, and they always seemed like they had their special teams under control. And I guess fair points. Like if I see Trevor Harris out there and I'm a defensive back, I'm not expecting him to punt the ball. So that's fair. But it's just a really good play call. And then just after I saw the replay today, when I was watching the second game, I think a very bad call when it comes to the command center.
Yeah, Diedrich Nichols recovers it, and basically, as he recovers it, I don't know however you want to put it, the official said his momentum carried him into the end zone. So by rule, I guess that means it's not a safety. But if you run into the end zone under your own volition or whatever and get tackled, then that would have been a safety. But they went to the replay center and they reviewed this thing, which meant that it ended up being a single point instead of a safety, which really extended this game and gave it more life right to the final whistle. But it was that same drive when A.J. Ouellette got tackled, I believe, and his helmet got ripped off.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was a blatant face mask there. I haven't seen the replay, but from the stands, it looked like it could have been a face mask. Matt Thompson in the live chat asking what was the officials' game plan coming into this Labor Day game in Regina.
It seemed like the officials' plan was to keep it a good game so the ratings were good.
It worked.
Yeah. Great finish.
David in the live chat saying it should have been a safety. Jake's, he's so jacked up. He says, why can't people just admit Calgary's the best team in the CFL? Brutally honest from an Edmonton fan. I agree. They are. And I actually think they are going to finish first in the West. That's because the math is very difficult for Saskatchewan at this point. They're going to be in Winnipeg twice. Calgary's got the tiebreaker. We'll see where this goes. But that's for later. We'll talk about that later. Winnipeg does get the ball back. And obviously, that single point, getting the ball at the 40, that made this drive happen. And the Riders, it feels like old Winnipeg a little bit. Second and long, and they're never out.
Never.
They sack them on first down. Well, 2nd and 14, no problem. Carrick Wheatfall. And then they throw deep to Nick Dembski. Jackson Ford takes that pass interference call. It was a veteran move from number 10, slowing down. The rookie safety ends up bumping it. They had to throw that. It was a no-doubter. They had to throw that. So then the Bombers get that ball in very good field position, and Dalton Schoen scores that touchdown to put them within 2.
Yeah. It was funny in the crowd, and and I get people are just upset at the penalty, but like everyone booing Andre when he says that it's pass interference when it blatantly is pass interference. Like I just can't understand why people would boo that, but nobody likes Andre because he's French.
Hey, I said it in the stands. They were saying prove.
Ooh, yeah.
They're not. Well, HB Sauce says, hey, where was the auto review on that face mask? Can't they override that? That's interesting. It seems like they change it every year. What you can
Yeah.
challenge, what is reviewable, what is
Yeah.
not. That feels like it.
Mace Mace could have challenged it. I believe face
Hmm.
masking is challengeable, and it's kind of weird that he chose not to. Like it looked like he was talking to the ref at one point, but probably he was probably saying like, "Why aren't you guys doing this?" But yeah, like the command center just it's whose line is it anyway? They do whatever they want, and the points don't matter, and they'll make the wrong decision at whatever time they want, and not make the right one. It's stupid.
So this game comes down to the 2-point conversion. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 30 seconds left, down 2 to the Riders. And Sheldon, I hit record on my little pocket camera. And there it is. Tavon Campbell with the interception as Mosaic Stadium goes wild. That was, I think it was the loudest I've heard that stadium, man. And you put your work in. You're a horse today. I'm not 100% full strength. That stadium was rocking.
Yeah, that was nuts. Because I think everyone kind of just expected Winnipeg to get it and that we were going to end up going to overtime. But Habakkuk Baldonado, made a great play to get up into Zach's face and forced him to throw it a little bit high. And yeah, Tevon Campbell, like he likes to bait receiver coach or quarterbacks a lot, I think. Like he plays off a little bit and we saw a couple times actually his closing speed. Like earlier in the game, there was a couple deep passes that I we both thought were gonna be gone and he just came out of nowhere and broke it up. So he showed his speed. He showed it after he got the ball and got this pick too. But yeah, he's been a really, really great player for the Riders. Right now, I bet you he's probably in the one or two, for their most outstanding defensive player award nominee, probably from the team. Uh, and it's pretty funny because there was a lot of people skeptical on his signing when he was signed this offseason. So I'm glad to see that he's done really well so far.
Ryan Ballantyne's in the chat. He said he was saying Prue Earns, but also, and yeah, I know the Labor Day game between Calgary Edmonton. Dave Dickinson challenging that no yards.
Yeah,
I thought it was an interesting challenge. Maybe
Dave
maybe
Dickinson is the king of terrible
I
challenges.
think
I'm
he's 0
sorry.
and 4 on the season. I
Yeah.
think you may be able to argue the Elks player's foot was within the no yards halo, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that one was worth. Yeah, it's 15 yards. I guess it would have taken him out of trouble at that point. But hey, Riders win here, 34-30. Leading receiver Tommy Neild, 86 yards. AJ Ouellette, 18 carries, 89 yards and a touchdown. So the Riders, like they were playing in, second and short all game long. And in the first half, they weren't able to really take advantage of those second and shorts. And as the game went on, it definitely turned in their favor. The leading
Hmm.
receiver for the Bombers, Nick Dembski, 7 catches, 89 yards. Kevin Clearcius also had 85 yards himself in this one. But yeah, Malik Carney was a monster in the D line for the Riders. 2 sacks, a forced fumble, a recovered fumble in this one. Ali Saad, his first ever sack in the CFL, and Jameer Thurman, Micah Johnson, each with a sack. And I know some Calgary Stampeder fans in the chat will appreciate the former Stamps doing well in green and white. Even the head coach, I will I will add. But Jameer Thurman, his 500th tackle in the Canadian Football League. He clearly is the general of that defense right now.
Yeah, and that defense, outside of all the yards they're giving up, they're playing pretty well. They too many touchdowns this week. They went almost 2 games in a row without, or they did go 2 games in a row, I think, without an offensive touchdown there. And but now Calgary and Winnipeg have scored a few on them, so they kind of got to get back to the drawing board on that. But yeah, like honestly, I think, they weathered that really early storm that Winnipeg had, and then up until the end of the game when they just made some mistakes that Winnipeg was able to capitalize on. Outside of that, I'd say the Bombers or the Riders actually kind of dominated the game. Maybe dominate is too strong of a word, but if Mario doesn't fumble that ball, I think this is a very, very different game. But I think you have to put it on to Winnipeg making, I think, those two poor coaching decisions too. So mistakes on both sides, and down to the wire, classic Labor Day, and this is probably what the playoff game will probably come if it is these two guys fighting out in the West semifinal, like I think we both kind of think is what's going to happen. But Banjo Bowl next week is huge for the Riders. If they want a chance to win first place, they need to win this game because you're not winning two in Winnipeg, I don't think, this season.
Yeah, that would. Hey, Calgary beat Winnipeg 3 times against Saskatchewan. Well, hey, they also beat them handily by several scores.
Yeah.
Not just 4 points. Let's go to the hammer here, where the Toronto Argonauts, with a 17-point fourth quarter, beat the Ticats 35-33. Man, I said to you, I'm not so confident about the Ticats winning this game. I am not at all. And
I was extremely confident.
They did not start well. And they could not get into a rhythm at all. The Ticats, a few short weeks ago, were heralded as having the best offense in the Canadian Football League. I believe we are now on 6 straight games of Nick Arbuckle with 300 passing yards. He goes 33 of 40 with 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Just call him Airbuckle. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah. It is crazy. He's playing really good, and I'm actually really happy he's playing this good just for him because he's kind of gone through a lot of adversity since, it was apparent that he was going to be the next big thing when he was the backup in Calgary. So it's good to see. It's good to see that Toronto doesn't need another quarterback right now. But I didn't expect it this game, to be honest. I thought with Stavros Kasantonis getting back in there, I thought, Bo Levi Mitchell on Labor Day, he is a can't miss. It just. And up until, halfway through that fourth quarter, I thought Hamilton had it. I wasn't thinking like the Rider game when I was like, oh, I think Winnipeg's coming back. I thought Hamilton was just going to cruise for the rest of the game. And Toronto said, no, nay, we are going to take this.
This Argo team, man, I don't even know. I don't know where to go with them. I don't think all of a sudden, they're probably gonna pass BC. I don't think there's gonna be a crossover anymore. They're still 4 games under 500, but I don't know. This Argo team, I don't know if I want to play them right now. And what blew me away about them in this one is that they finally had balance. Spencer Brown only had 10 carries, but 90 yards with those 10 carries. And he also had 9 catches for 64 yards. So now, if they're going to keep using the running back like that, this is where the Argos have succeeded since Dinwiddie has been in town. And hey, if they found their running back this way and this is how they're going to do it, I don't know. I think they're a very dangerous team now.
They are, and they have Willie McManus now. Him knocking passes down at the line. Because again, at the end of the game there, I thought Hamilton was gonna score on that drive, but he, man, yeah, you're right. Well, they won the Grey Cup last year, and they did lose a lot of players, but and they started terribly, but there's not a team in the league right now outside of maybe Ottawa and Montreal without Davis Alexander that I don't think could win at any given time. Like even the Elks, I think could. I guess we'll talk about that later. But you know, like you said, Toronto's playing really good, and Hamilton, they have been too, but they made a lot of mistakes early on, and it paid for it in the end.
It seemed like Bo didn't have his rhythm going in this one.
No ice in those veins. Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently Tammy reporting in the live chat that he wore the Boveralls.
Yeah.
A Boverall loss, like Sir Douglas, he's got the smug face on. Oh yeah, I guess Spencer Brown overtook Nick Arbuckle in this one as the team's leading rusher, which just goes to show like how the rushing attack has been this season. But yeah, early on, just mistakes by the Ticats. Carter Woodmansey, Bo was giving him a piece of his mind when they had that fumbled snap, and they had to settle for a field. I think it was 2nd and 15 anyway at that point. But the Ticats just could not get things going, and it actually could have been worse. Dejon Brissett catches a touchdown at the end of the first quarter, but holding brings that one back. And the Argos actually had a few big plays come off the board because of penalties. And I thought the Ticats were going to escape pretty lucky, but then things changed in the second quarter when, let's just see here, the Argos had a lead with Jake Herslow. For a while, it was Keandre Smith, the hottest player in the CFL. Well, now it's Hurdle and Jake Herslow.
Yep.
This guy seems unstoppable. And we got to talk about number 15 as well. Mackay Polk back into the lineup for the Argos, contributing right away. Like did he have less practices than Adjo, and he's right into the lineup?
I think he had one more, but yeah, he made a difference already. Like he's so good.
So Jake Herslow, 4 touchdowns in his past 2 games. And actually, we'll extend that to 6 touchdowns in his last 4 games. He's got touchdowns in 4 straight games. It's ridiculous. He had 6 catches for 67 yards in this one. And then let's go up to Mackay Polk, who is contributing right off the bat. Number 15, 6 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. No big deal for Mackay Polk.
Yeah, no big deal. Just and it's not often that happens. Usually people, have to adjust a little bit back to the CFL game. Like I know there was one spot early in the game when Polk was coming in on it was a handoff, and it looked like he almost kind of disrupted things there. So he had to work on his timing a little bit there. But typically we don't see players, get 6 catches in their first game back from an NFL tryout. So, it's interesting to see that. Good for them.
So it was later on in the second quarter where Tyler Turnowski blocks a Argos punt. And then Devin Varasic, the rookie, recovers it in the end zone. Now the Ticats are within 2 points. And then that crazy play as well where Tavares McFadden intercepts Bo Levi Mitchell, then fumbles it. Liam Thompson, the smart offensive lineman, will give it to the offensive lineman who have it between the ears, punches it out of bounds to make sure it's Ticats ball there, and the Cats kneel it out at the end of the half. But when that block punt happened, I think it woke up the crowd, and then in the second half there was a big sack by Julian Hauser on the defense, and I'm like, oh, okay, now the Ticats are humming, as the Arkells would say. But it was Kenny the King that caught that touchdown to put the Ticats ahead early in the third quarter, and you thought there was going to be black and gold, Labor Day magic. The double blue weren't going to spoil the party at that point.
Yeah, I I was watching it, and my buddy texted me, my buddy Matt Damon. He's like, "Hey, who are you cheering for here?" Because he just turned it on. I was like, "Hamilton, like, they got this," and then they did not got this in the end. It was crazy, but that last play was nuts.
Well, they were up 27-18 at the beginning of the fourth. Shamar
Yeah.
Bridges catching a touchdown there. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, the next drive, 10 plays, 60 yards from the Argos to put them within two. And then, one of those two and outs from the Ticat offense. Thanks for the free advertising, fellas. And then the Argos get the ball back. Hurdle Jake Herslow. The Argos have the lead. Well, not so fast. Labor Day Bo. Here he comes with the ball. And he hits Keandre Smith. Actually, no, that was that turnover on downs. And game over. A minute 26, Argo ball. The Cats had that play broken up by Winton McManus, you mentioned. Argo's going 2 and out. Ticat ball again with 47 seconds to go. Kenny Lawler gets the touchdown, and the Ticats take the lead by 1 point. The 2-point conversion didn't work. Well, Hurdle and Jake Herslow contributes again, gets a 34-yard return, and then Dejon Brissett, a 62-yard completion, steps out of bounds with 1 second left. If he gained another yard and stepped out of bounds with 0 left, game over. But he steps out of bounds, 1 second left. Liram Hairolahu hits the 11-yard field goal. And what a finish. What a last 90 seconds of game clock in this Labor Day game in the Hammer.
Yeah, that's why we love the CFL. That's why the 3-minute rules of the CFL are perfect. Like it was insane. You see two fan bases get to the ultimate high and then the ultimate low, and nuts. Like I thought he was out, and I was like, that is the stupidest, most selfish play I've ever seen in my life. Like, go down and get a field goal. But, for him to, I don't know if he thought that he still
You're
had
gonna
that
be lucky
second
to
or
be
not,
good.
but yeah, 100%. And boy, was he good there.
Tammy says, stop yawning, Sheldon.
I can't help it. I always yawn, and I try to hide it. Obviously not well enough. Thank you, wife.
I had to call you out when it was live. Sir Douglas said he needed the defibrillator. When I go to McMahon Stadium, I need the defib for a completely different reason. It's the Spudinator. Like when I can choose melted butter as a topping, and the baked potato is in like this pool of grease, I'm not gonna say no.
Speaking of melted butter, and this is completely off topic, but have you seen the TikTok things of like taking a little spray bottle to the movie theater and filling it up with the butter and then just spraying it on the popcorn? That is a choice move, I think.
That might be the best thing to come out of TikTok.
Yeah.
Who carries a spray bottle of butter?
Bud, every single movie theater, there's a Dollarama within walking distance. You just go and you buy one of those little empty ones there and you fill it up.
So it's like me, I'm a bigger fella. If I go into an eating competition, it's like a lose-lose. If I win, people judge me for winning, and if I lose, then I get judged for losing. So maybe I should just
sorry. Or if you're like me, you post a picture on Twitter and get called fat.
Twitter is like grade 2.
Oh, I know. Like, how does somebody think they're funny, and how do they think they're cool by making a comment like that? It's hilarious.
Yeah. But hey, Ryan Ballantyne defending you with your yawns. He's saying it's tired being awesome.
Oh, yes. I came to play, unlike you in fantasy this week, boy.
Did you get the win? The
I
all
did.
rider team versus the
I
all stamps team?
Yeah, and I did not think I was going to at the end because Trevor Harris did not get like I had like 20 points from him as my captain, but somehow, yes, I beat the mighty Ryan at fantasy. So I am him.
So, Sheldon, this was a must win, I think, for the Ticats if they wanted to host the East Final.
Yeah.
So they don't get it done. And here's the deal. We'll see when practice starts underway here. But the Alouettes get to play the Ticats in a short week while the Alouettes are off the bye. And the Owls had several starters sitting on the bench just waiting to get healthy. I think everybody agrees that they're still a good team. It's just the amount of injuries, they're pretty tough to overcome. Yeah. If they beat Hamilton at home in Montreal, all of a sudden it's tied for first in the East.
Mm-hmm.
The Argos are off. Then they get to host the Elks next weekend. And then they actually play the Alouettes, who they're only a game behind. It is a complete mess in the East Division, right way, in the best possible way.
Yeah. I love when this happens actually. It's funny because often the East teams just kind of start out really slow and it's all this talk about the crossover, and then, come Labor Day and 2/3 of the way, then these East teams start getting their wins back, and it just makes things more exciting for multiple fan bases because the West teams think that maybe there's an extra playoffs, and then coming down it, the Eastern teams get to see the wins and get back in the hunt. So you love to see that. But BC being off this week, like it's so stupid that they didn't have Ottawa and Montreal play, but we've beat that dead horse already. But BC, they're gonna want to get that win back next week because I think it's pretty clear that it's a three-headed race in the West right now, and BC, if they're gonna make the playoffs, it's gonna be that crossover out.
This chat about the buys is very fascinating. We had a comment on our YouTube channel that I'm going to try to pull up here. Basically, teams going into the buy in 2025 have a 187 winning percentage. Like, absolutely abysmal. Yeah. Going into the buy, for some reason, teams have been garbage.
Players just thinking ahead to the family time, or what?
Is it as simple as that? Like, it's wild.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, there it is. And man, as we go on, we got some. Oh, we forgot shout outs. Was it Chris we ran into from Winnipeg?
Chris with the handshake. My goodness. What a firm handshake.
He got the better of both of us in the handshake.
Yeah. There's also two lovely ladies that
we met Vicky, who's a YouTube commenter at Wayne's World. And then many other people at Wayne's World who probably don't remember meeting us.
Yeah, I was having a 20-minute conversation with Gold member at Wayne's World, and then at halftime just blows right by me.
He didn't know who you were.
He had no idea. I probably looked like every random fan to him. Like, it was. And he was helping us try to get rid of Creepy McRae too. He was part of that, getting rid of Creepy McRae, I think. Oh, no, sorry, that was Mike. Mike was the homie trying to get rid of Creepy McRae.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to McMahon Stadium, where the Stampeders smoke the Brisket and smoke the Elks 28-7. Like, this is crazy. If I read you Calgary's offensive stats, 287 yards, net offense, Vernon Adams Jr., 13 of 23, 162 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, this is why I beat Ryan, by the way.
Yeah, you think, maybe they didn't lose. But that Stampeder defense, so dominant that the offense just had to manage to win the game.
Yeah.
Just not
At
go
the end,
backwards.
at the end of 3 quarters, the Elks were leading in every single statistic other than turnovers, yet they were losing in the game.
Wow.
That's insane.
And the Elks do not score a touchdown here. They don't score a point in the fourth quarter. Now, it feels like this Elks offensive line, like once it starts
What
pouring,
offensive line?
do they just fall apart, or is it they're not strong at pass pro, so once Rankin's not going, they get crushed? Like Saskatchewan dominated them, and then now Calgary really dominated them, and let's just say that Calgary's D-line dominated Saskatchewan's O-line. Yeah. So that D-line in Calgary forces, and I don't know. I thought maybe Edmonton could escape this series with a split, but I'm not so sure now.
No, that Elks O-line was playing like Cody owed them money and he wasn't paying them. Like he wasn't getting any protection. They weren't opening holes. Rankin was, I guess he has, 90 yards from scrimmage, I guess, but like he wasn't that same Rankin that he's been in the past handful of games, like where he can just like take anything to the house. I just the Elks kept it really close. They honestly did, and come halftime, if they would have been able to get that touchdown, to take the lead or to get close or tie it, whatever it was, they didn't get it, and then Calgary got a field goal, I think, right at the end there, right? So, but the Elks were in it. They really were. It's just that kick return, I guess, is the thing that kind of broke it all, I guess. But it was just, this wasn't a classic Labor Day game, unfortunately for us watching it.
Well, hopefully it was a classic for Ryan Ballantyne. Deep fried a turkey in the McMahon Stadium parking lot pregame.
I heard about that, yes.
You got leftovers, Ryan? Speaking of leftovers.
Hot.
So we're about to go to the stadium in Regina, and these fans, they're walking by with styrofoam containers, and they're like, do you want a Reuben? And I'm like, and they're like, well, I'm gonna throw them away. Then I'm like,
But we only thought it was one at this point. One.
Okay. I think there was one Reuben because the other sandwiches that I ate were not Reubens.
Oh, okay.
They were,
but there was 3 sandwiches at the end.
Yes, 3 half sandwiches at the end. Yeah. Okay, full disclosure. I'm still rattled about this. At the end of the day, my vehicle, it got rummaged through, and some expensive electronics are now no longer in my possession. A bag of salt and vinegar chips. I think I'm most insulted by them taking the chips. Really, dude?
Yeah. That's a dick move.
I had an 8-hour drive, and that last stretch between Stettler and home, those salt and vinegar chips were going to take me a long way. So now, some free advertising from Bushwhackers Pub in Regina. I'm looking at their menu right now, because those were not Reubens. Because a Reuben, okay, so there's a Reuben. Oh, they were Cubans.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yes, Cubans. That's what she said. They were Cubans.
Oh, because there is Reubens on the menu.
Well, Reuben is a very popular sandwich, but
I like a Reuben. So the Cuban.
I've never had a Cuban, so I don't even know what that is.
Citrus roast pork, ham, pickles, Swiss cheese, and mustard on house-made flatbread. Pressed to a crispy finish. Well, after spending 6 hours in a cooler, it's no longer crispy, but The protein got me through. That being said, somebody stole like a portable power station I had in my vehicle. They stole a microphone I have for my little webcam. They stole my M&M World bag from Times Square, New York, probably to steal all the other goods. And then they opened the cooler, and they took one Cuban sandwich from Bushwhackers Pub and my salt and vinegar chips. But I was rattled. I thought maybe I had one Reuben and two Cubans, and I was like, could they have left the Reuben? Anyway.
Yeah. We were so excited about those Cubans.
Yes, exactly. I love the Leanne. Who steals chips? I mean, really. I'm just glad that I ate the ketchup chips on the road down, because if they took the ketchup chips, I would have been rattled.
Yeah.
Anyway, this all started with seeing if there is any leftover turkey. Not much left. Oh, we should set it up for Saskatchewan Calgary next year. I'm in. Maybe I'll bring some stuffing.
Good.
Tailgate stuffing
and the Spudinator after as a dessert.
Ooh, now I'm conflicted.
Well, no, you got to do it all.
Do it all?
Oh yeah.
Like, what do you say about this game? The Stamps just smashed Edmonton.
But they didn't at the same time. Like,
well, I think they physically overmatched them.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Because Vernon didn't have the best game. He was off target. It was his first ever Labor Day game. I don't know if that contributed to it. But I know that at the beginning of the season, he wanted these big receivers because when he misses guys, he would usually miss high. Well, he missed Damian Alford high, and this he could probably reach 12 feet in the air. So he was off.
That's true.
He was off target throughout the game. They did get the touchdown early on to Dominic Rhymes to take the lead, and they never looked back. But Dedrick Mills had his highest rushing total of the year, 106 yards on the ground. And I think once Jake Ceresna got hurt for the Elks and he left the game, it felt like maybe that definitely took some wins out of that defense's sail for Edmonton.
Oh yeah, for sure. It made it a lot easier for Mills to get yards after Ceresna was gone. Yeah, and Edmonton doesn't really have any push on defense either. Like they're struggling to get sacks this year. I don't know. I thought that the Elks were really gelling. I thought they were finally kind of turned the corner of getting Hervey went out and got all these nice shiny pieces, and it just seemed like it was taking a while for them to get together and play. And it just seemed like, winning 3 in a row and the momentum that they had, I thought they were going to do a better showing. And it's just, I'm sad for the fans, but I'm more sad for me as a Rider fan, because I really wanted Edmonton to win, because we need to bridge that gap for first place. So thanks a lot, Elks, for nothing.
I think that maybe Calgary's just that good against everybody other than Ottawa.
Yeah. Like you said before, Calgary is the best team in the league. They still are. Like, I don't care that the Riders beat Winnipeg in Mosaic Stadium and Calgary only beat the Elks. Like, my power rankings are not going to change for the number 1 and 2 positions. Calgary is still pound for pound the best team in the league.
Maybe I'll need a reminder on as to why the Elks or the Stamps lost to Montreal 23-21.
Wasn't that the game that VA got hurt?
Well, yeah, I guess at the end of the game, PJ Walker comes in and he had 7 pass attempts, goes 3 of 20. So, and then the second Ottawa game, PJ Walker started and VA didn't play. So obviously that's going to be critical for Calgary to keep the quarterback healthy. It's going to be critical for Saskatchewan and Winnipeg and Hamilton. Basically every team in the CFL to keep your starting quarterback. That's the problem. Between now and November, all sorts of combinations of things can happen. here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ryan saying VA missed the fourth quarter. So missing the whole quarter definitely hurt them in that one.
They're like Montreal. They're the opposite of Montreal. Or sorry, they are like Montreal. Like if Vernon Adams had been out as long as Davis Alexander, they'd probably have a similar record. I think these two teams are just very tied to, you know, they're a great team, but without their main leader, they're not as great of a team, if that makes sense.
Which is interesting because in this one, VA didn't have the biggest impact on the game.
Yeah.
It was just, Edmonton. I mean, at the end of the first half, like, Elks fans had to be rattled there. Blanchard misses the 32-yard field goal, and then they take a pass interference penalty to get the Stamps into field goal range. So they just add another field goal in 13 seconds there to go up by 9. And then the Elks have a nice, a clock, killing drive at the beginning of the second half. And they that one ends in a field goal. So they are within 6 at that point. And then the dagger, Eric Brooks, an 86-yard punt return touchdown. Jake Julian, the prized punter back from the NFL, couldn't make the stop and slow down Eric Brooks. And that was the dagger when you give up special teams scores. It's other than Toronto, apparently. You can give up special team scores and still win. Edmonton didn't have the same luxury.
Yeah, and it's just when you're a team and you're struggling, but you're still close. Like if the score is not out of hand, and then you give up that play, it's just so demoralizing. And honestly, like there's a couple times they showed the bench where Cody was trying to get the team kind of amped up, and it honestly didn't seem like they really cared. It seemed like they were pretty defeated ever since that return.
There was a stat they shared during the game where Jake Serezna, the defensive lineman, is tied for the team lead in interceptions, and Cordell Jackson, the defensive back, is tied for the team lead in sacks. So the Elks defense, well, they've got some guys there, not able to finish sacks and not able to force turnovers, and that's an interesting thing for that D. Leanne saying, hey, the Stamps are good, but they're not undefeatable. The Double E just let their hype in their heads pull them off focus. Talk about being in the rut. Yes, those big old 900-pound animals in the mountains have shed their velvet, and now they are it's like going to the bar when you're 18 and all 3 guys fighting over 40 girls. That's the Elk rut, except I've never seen young fellas at the bar scream and bugle at each other, but I think if humans started doing that, life would be way more entertaining.
Yeah. But you just need to go to like an Edmonton Oilers game or something to see that.
That's true. I think that's very fair.
Because they fight themselves there.
That's
other
true.
places they fight the other team, but nope, not in Edmonton.
Blake says, someone made a good point to me as a Lions fan. I feel like a kid who's left out every year on Labor Day. Last year, Touchdown Pacific happening Labor Day weekend. I hope that was at least some sort of consolation prize. But, poor BC. I don't know. Does Kelowna need a team? Or I don't know. Something like that. But enjoy the break.
And Mar Doman could make it work. I bet he could own 2 teams and... make it work.
Hopefully he buys the CFL, or maybe we can have him buy the Argos like David Braley back in the day, and we can have the Doman Bowl.
That I would be here for that. Then the Argo fans would get sick concerts every year too. Yes, you guys may not get Labor Day games, but we don't get 50 Cent or Snoop Dogg or whoever you've had.
Hey, last year there was Kim Mitchell. And I am not
I love
sarcastic.
patio lanterns.
Not
Oh,
sarcastic one
yeah.
bit.
Safamod, he was so rattled that it was Kim Mitchell, but it was such a good show.
No.
Such a good show.
What a bad Canadian. A
One of
bad
the
Canadian.
one of yeah. Yeah, not me, Dwayne. Speaking of, sorry I didn't message you back about the meetup next time. Uh Kim Mitchell, patio lanterns, no, not patio lanterns. Go for soda, best bass line in a Canadian song ever.
Wow, we agree on something. We agree on something. Or are you stealing that from me? I don't know.
No, I doom 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 doom. I love that. I'm playing that as soon as we're done here.
Yeah, the Stamps handle the Elks, and they're going to see him again. You would have to assume. But you know what they say about assuming. Just don't.
If you're saying that Trey Ford's going to start, no, it's not happening.
Free Trey, that's what I say.
I think they're going to free Trey in the offseason when they trade him somewhere. Because I think
Do you think, though, that there should be maybe some packages in there if they can't get, Rankin going on a consistent basis, things like that?
I think they should have packages in there. They should have packages in there where, like, Trey lines up as a receiver and Cody tosses him the ball and he throws it. Or, yes, maybe when they were winning 3 games in a row, it wasn't as necessary, but like this is the time. Like I think it's pretty safe. Let's say they don't win next week. If they lose again next week, then they're pretty much out of it when it comes to contention. So you need to decide if Trey Ford does even have a chance to be your guy in the future. Like I know they were under a lot of pressure, I think, with all the players they signed to have a better year. And especially, I think, with Calgary being so much better than everyone thought they were going to be, that they kind of felt, I think, they had to go to Cody to try to get into a playoff position. But, I'm pretty sure Trey Ford has guaranteed money in his contract coming up still. So, like, you have to... If you're giving up on him, you need to give up on him pretty quickly, or else you need to give him a shot here somehow. What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at the live chat. Well, Leanne just saying, I have a lot of feathers but not much chicken. So, I saw Kim Mitchell at the River Creek Casino. This is like 20 years ago. And the first chord of I Am a Wild Party, I just scream, I am a lot of feathers, but not much chicken. And Kim Mitchell popped. Like, I am a wild party. Oh, poor Douglas. He says, do not remind me of the Braley years. Not enough alcohol to purge those memories.
Are they not? Is the MLS years better?
I don't know.
Like, at least Braley liked football.
Maybe MLSE
there,
just kind of like forgets that they're there.
Yeah, they're like every year the financials. What's that? The Argos. Okay, cool. Keep going.
What? Now, just one more thing on the Elks. It felt like there was no intermediate stuff. They were throwing deep, and none of it was working, and they just kept doing it.
Cody thinks like every receiver is Matheson and he's 7 feet tall, or Mathis, like, and he's 7 feet tall. Like he was overthrowing everyone, and he was, like 70% of his passes, I swear, were for more than 25 yards. Like, I understand your kind of desperation, and until the fourth quarter, it's not like they were down by more than 2 touchdowns. Like it was still within reach, and they just needed to make drives. They needed to give their defense a break, but Cody kept just constantly throwing the deep ball, and he just wasn't on target, and his receivers weren't helping him. So you have to at some point kind of settle things down. If you're Jordan Maximic, you got to be like, hey, okay, we got to change things up, throw some crossing routes, march the field a little bit, even get some field goals here. It was just bizarre.
Hey, I heard Ryan on the Turf District. A lot of unsavory material on that podcast.
I was popping left, right, and center. I would listen to Ryan on any rival podcast, every week. Every fan podcast needs to have him on when they play the Stamps.
But the bend don't break defense that Calgary does. If you're going to be working with an 80-yard field and just doing these short passes or whatever, it's not going to get done, and they couldn't get it done deep. So
yeah,
that's what. There we go. She said. Clark Barnes was the leading receiver for the Stamps, 62 yards there. For the Elks, the leading receiver was Arkell Smith, 7 catches, 81 yards. And they're going to play again on Saturday. It's a triple header on Saturday. The Ticats are in Montreal, the Riders in Winnipeg. I'm not offended by Banjo Bowl, are you?
No, I love it, and I think it's really stupid that the Riders won't call it Banjo Bowl.
They just call it the Labor Day rematch. Blah, blah, blah.
God forbid you have something that has marketing attached to it.
Yeah. And then the Elks host the Stamps to wrap up Week 14 as the Lions are in Ottawa to begin Week 14 on Friday Night Football. Before we say goodbye, I'll mention that I was 2-1 in Pick'em. I did pick the Ticats. You the same?
Yes, 2-1. And then before we say goodbye, I wanted to mention a couple of games from USports this week.
Yes.
There was a couple that were insane finishes. The first one was Waterloo against Toronto, and this was the first time that Waterloo has won since 2023, I think is what it was. But just the way that it ended. So they got a 53-yard Toronto got a 53-yard touchdown with 9 seconds left in the game. And then 3 plays later, Waterloo kicker Evan... Sorry, I'm reading off 3 Down Nation. Sorry.
Yeah, he kicks that 57-yarder, the longest in OUA history, second longest in USports history. And then it goes to overtime.
And then he wins it in overtime.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the U of R was in Calgary against the Dinos, and they scored a touchdown, a 2-point convert to make it a 1-point game with 6 seconds left. And then there was an 85-yard rouge that the Dinos got on the kickoff. There must have been a penalty. I don't know.
85-yarder.
Yeah, so maybe it wasn't as kicked off. Maybe that's. I thought they kicked from the 45. So
yeah, it looked like a short field.
Yeah. Anywho, so he gets the rouge to tie the game.
Canada!
There.
Oh, Canada!
Go. Oh yeah, oh Canada. That's exciting. But at least on that, I'm fine with a kickoff rouge because that player needed to understand that you don't let that ball get behind you and you run it out. So I'm fine with stupidity resulting in a point. I'm fine with Brett Lowther shanking a kick and getting a point for that. Anywho, and then they went to overtime and Regina won. So exciting games again in USports. Watch it somehow.
Douglas says, maybe we just have to attend the stadiums. It might be the easiest way. Douglas says, MLSE just forces me into therapy, not detox. That's fair. That's very fair.
Therapy is good. Talk to people.
Except the guy that stole my salt and vinegar chips. He does not deserve the grace of having a conversation. Believe it or not, Sheldon, my fantasy week this week, I was better than last week. I had 115.8 points, including a 1.6 from Del Duncan Busby and a 0 from Giovanni Robinson. So thank you to Hurdlin Jake Herslow and my captain, Bo Levi Mitchell, with 52 points. Oh, and the Stamps defense with 12. We'll be back later this week to get you ready for Week 14 of the CFL season. Take care.
The 2 and Out CFL podcast is written, produced, and hosted by Travis Currah and co-hosted by Sheldon Jones. Subscribe to 2 and Out on all major podcast platforms and YouTube to keep up to date with future shows.